checking to see if we're going live yet. We've been on 8 seconds. And Jimmy, say some words of wisdom while I check this.
Okay, words of wisdom. I have the thing printed out that you that we read the other day. It's about I had a dream last night and you were in it, and it's about perspective. This thing puts things in perspective, and I think we had promised we were going to read that again today. I have the thing printed out. That
it works. Hold on, I got to shut this off now.
I had a dream last night and you were in it, and it's about perspective.
I've tried it.
Puts things in perspective. And I think we had promised we were going to read that again.
You know, I'm getting a new phone. I'm so excited. Anyway, go ahead, Jimmy. I'm sorry I interrupted you.
That's okay. No, that's okay. Your headset's not in. Oh, yeah, it is. Yeah, we're good. But I heard an echo. Yeah, I heard an echo when you had it.
That was, that was me.
Okay, cool.
Well, all right. So, hi, everybody. It's 9 o'clock. Jimmy Daig and Ruthie Rocks, Ruthie Allbrand. Yesterday, Jim, I don't know if you had an opportunity to watch the show, but I went over 5 things that Brian Buffini says we should all take care of. And I know that you have your gratitude cards, or what do you call them?
My goal cards. I have a gratitude rock I carry around.
Okay, so just briefly, hi, Aaron. Good morning. It's good to see you this morning. Yesterday, Jimmy, we went over Brian Buffini's 5 items that he thinks we need to take care of, and one is spiritual. Mm-hmm. And we need to make sure that spiritually we're good. And when I walk, I always say how grateful I am for everything, and say some prayers and talk to myself sometimes. And that also handles my physical part of taking care of myself, because I do every morning. I do walk and I do jog sometimes, and I work out with weights like I did this morning, and I do some abs. And so taking care of our physical self is extremely important. And let's see, just have to give a shout out to everybody. Hi, Karen. So we've got spiritual, we have physical, we have to take care of ourselves, we have to eat right. And then emotional. Emotional right now, I think, is very critical as well, because I don't know about you, Jimmy, but I'm a little fearful of the future because I don't know what it's going to bring. I don't think we've seen perhaps the worst of this, what we're going through yet, and I still don't know what to call it. Do you have a word for it? What do you think we're going through?
COVID-19. I would just call it COVID-19.
The COVID-19. And I don't know how things are going to play out once we get through this, or what the aftermath is going to bring. So I talk to myself, and I've been very emotionally reinforced by Brian Buffini. And I just listened to his podcast about his house burning down, and I would recommend that everybody listen to that. It'll give you great insight. I'm going to quote some things that he said today in that. And then he talks about taking care of our financial selves, and not to spend money that we don't need to spend. And I know John and I have been just canceling things that we don't need to have on our credit cards, and it's amazing the little things here and there, the $9 here, the $19 there, that at the time they were a good idea, but then we never really utilized them. Mm-hmm. And then our business, which is really important. We need to decide how we're going to move forward, and maybe have a plan for the next 90 days, because our business is going to take a change. It's going to change in some way. Don't you agree?
Well, it's changing the way we're conducting the business. I think that's the biggest change. The way we're actually doing business is, the topic comes up over and over again about how do I actually do an open house, and shouldn't we have been live streaming it before? There's still a percentage of the population that want to go in and see it. They don't want to look at it on the camera. It's like looking at a video of the beach. You have to go to the beach. You got to go. So there's a balance in there somewhere, and I think that's what's unsettling, is we're all pretty much off balance right now, because this has been forced upon us at a time when we weren't ready for it.
Yes, right, yeah. John actually got an offer on one of our listed houses yesterday, and it was a very good offer. And the house was vacant. It was in excellent condition, and it was vacant. But the agent, the buyer's agent, I'm going to talk to her later today and see exactly how she showed them the house and what precautions she took, and hopefully learn from what she did. Because I think if we can tell everybody that we are being cautious, that we have masks, we have gloves, maybe booties even, and if I think we kind of quote unquote stage it properly, that we can still show houses. We don't have to ride in the same car. We don't have to meet at the office. With today's social media, we can connect with many people and continue doing business.
Well, it comes down to, Brian says, if you're not getting the results that you want, what are you going to change to get those results? So we're going to have to alter our business practices to some level, and we'll see how long this lasts before we go right back to what we've been doing. And that's the challenge with new habits. Brian did a series with Tony Schwartz called The Energy Project, Lighting the Fire from Within. And it was 6 CDs, and it was phenomenally good. If you can get a copy of that somehow, anyone that's listening to this, if you can get a copy of Brian Buffini's The Energy Project, it's beyond excellent. But he talks about, as Ruthie's talking about, the 5 circles: spiritual, family, business, financial, personal. And he says, it's not time management that is the trick, it's energy management. And one of the biggest energy robbers that we have is what you've talked about, Ruthie, the unease, the dis-ease about what's going on. How am I going to navigate through this? The uncertainty. Uncertainty is a major cause of energy drain. Uncertainty it's a challenge, and we've got to be more certain about what we're doing and how we're doing it.
Yeah, and Brian, in Brian's podcast, he was talking about perseverance. And Martin Luther King has a saying that says, if you can't fly, run. And if you can't run, walk. And if you can't walk, crawl. But keep moving forward.
Wow. That's good.
It is. It is good. And I know that Brian, in the podcast he was doing, was relating about his house burning down several years ago, and they lost virtually everything, every book. And Brian Buffini had journaled his life every day for 22 years, and he lost all those journals.
Wow.
His wife, who was, I didn't know that Beverly had been an Olympic participant. But she had 6 suitcases that she had prepared of memorabilia from her life as an Olympian, and she was going to leave that to her children. Those 6 suitcases gone. They had a basement, 1,000 square foot basement, and it was 4 walls of bookcases and couches in the middle, and they called it the kids' kingdom. And from their kitchen, they had a wall that pushed like the Harry Potter movies, mm-hmm. like you pushed a wall. And so it opened up and you went down a spiral staircase and came into the kids' kingdom, where the children would go down there. They have 6 children, and read all their books. And all those books were gone. And Brian had a library of books with a ladder even, so he could get to all of them. And Beverly had a library of books as well. And she was very much into theology and had many books that were given to her by theologians and had written messages in there, all gone.
Wow.
And I know. And so we all go through, the fires of life, and perseverance is so important. And I bring some of these things up now because I think that I don't know what tomorrow is going to bring. I don't know what's going to be the aftermath of the COVID-19, but I do know that Brian talked about how we can become better through any crisis, as he did. And he said that if you ever wondered what's the difference between 18 karat gold and 24 karat gold, and do you know how they get 24 karat gold?
The crucible.
Yes. And they put the gold in a crucible and they heat it. And the impurities, when they heat it, rise to the top, and they get rid of the impurities, and it leaves the 24 karat gold, which is much more valuable because it has no impurities. And sometimes I think that God puts us through trials and things like that to make us better, or to give us the opportunity to become better.
Well, and I don't know where it is in the Bible, but I know it says life is a test, life is a trust, and life is a temporary assignment. So we're being tested. God trusts that we can figure this out, that we'll get through it, but it's a temporary assignment. You're not going to be here forever. So what do you want people to say about you when you're gone? That's what Stephen Covey talks about, the tombstone exercise in his book, The 7 Habits. He says, you're at a funeral and there's 4 people that are going to talk. Someone that you work with, one of your family members, one of your really good friends, and someone who you worship with. And what do you want those 4 people to say? Because you're the one in the casket. And he says, live your life like it's the last day, you're in the casket. What do you want those 4 people to say? And that's where the temporary assignment thing comes in, and the test and the trust. What do we want them to say about you when you're gone?
Yeah, right. Yeah, that's heavy. I know that
Sorry.
No, I like it. Augmendino said, today I shed my old skin. I want to shed the bruises of the sufferings I've had in the past and the wounds of mediocrity. And that really has a lot of meaning for me, because we've got to get rid of the past and we've got to look to the future. And one of the only ways that we are going to get through the future is not to procrastinate. And Gretzky says that procrastination is one of the worst diseases of mankind, because it destroys your dreams and your future. And I used to teach positive thinking years and years ago when I was in my 20s, actually. And procrastination was always a great topic for me, because I found that people would procrastinate doing things, even the short assignments that I would give them to do, to start thinking positive and things like that. Procrastination, we've got to stop procrastinating and come up with some new ideas and change maybe some of the ways we do things. And if we're going to go through a list of things that we're going to change, or people we're going to maybe reacquaint with, we need to do it. I mean, Nike said, just do it. And it is like powerful words. They really are powerful words. Hi, Miss Cookie. Hi, Leslie. It's so good to see everybody. Yeah. So we've got to move forward and take this time. And Jimmy, and you and I are going to read the Psalm 46 before the end of the show. Okay. But we've got to, maybe in the next 90 days, pretend like we were starting over, or pretend like we're in that casket. And, what are we doing now that we're going to keep doing? What is our current direction, and should we change it? Should we improve it? And who are we working with, and should we work with different people? Should we do different things? I mean, there's just so many things to think about right now, that as we race through our days in the past, we didn't take the time to reflect on maybe our direction and really what we want the people at our funeral to say about us.
Well, and you said shed the baggage. We're a lot of us are dragging a lot of stuff now, and we need to let that go. And there's actually a term in yoga that talks about letting go of attachment. And it's a discipline. It's one of the disciplines of yoga, is just the attachment's the thing that are going to hold us back if we don't let go of them. And that's a discipline. That's a thought process and a belief system that, when you teach positive thinking, it doesn't happen in one class. It happens over a period of time. And so we need to start working towards that, I think, and that would help.
And a lot of where we are came from pain that we endured in our life, and we have to let it go, to the point of Augmendino's saying about shedding the bruises of our suffering. And I think that
pain is a fact of life. Suffering is optional.
Yes, that's a good way to put it. You're so good. Yeah. You remember these things much better than I do.
The last time I went to Buffini's thing in San Diego, he went over Augmendino's scrolls, and just really profound. And I'm doing them pretty much every morning, just about every morning. But one of the scrolls is, I will act now. The 9th one, I will act now, and I will pray for guidance. I will act now. I will pray for guidance. So just listen, just reading the scrolls every morning reading the scrolls. That's a habit or a practice or a ritual, if you want to call it that, that I've been doing very, very consistently. And it's shaping, I hope, my activities. What are you doing? What are you doing? I mean, what are you doing with this? If you know this and you're not doing anything with it, you don't know it yet. You got to keep reading it to keep going.
Yeah. We all know that, of course, we lost Kobe Bryant, who is in the prime of his life and with his daughter going on a Sunday trip with friends. And
It's a wake-up call.
Michael Jordan at his funeral cried like a baby, but said, you know, we just can't put things off. And we have to try as hard as we can, or I don't even like the word try. We have to do things, whether we're afraid of failure or what it is, but we have to embrace the people that we know, keep in touch with people that we love, and just don't put things off. We can't keep putting life off or we will have no life.
Right.
And I don't know, it just chokes me up because I don't know.
Well, what you're thinking is less important than what you're doing, because nobody's a mind reader. So you can have all these great thoughts, but it comes down to, are you reaching out? Are you making those connections? What are you doing? What are you doing? We get lost in thought. We can really get this drunk monkey, as Tom Ferry calls it. The drunk monkey can just take over, and so it's real easy. That's another thing that Brian does at the end of the day. He sits down. He says, "Okay, what did I actually get accomplished today?" And he takes an inventory. This is what I actually did. This is what I said I was going to do. What I actually did. Can I feel good about the day that I've just spent? Because you spent the day.
Yeah. So I watched my husband John go through cancer 5 times in the past 9 or 10 years, and I just am so grateful that we work together and we're together all the time. It really,
he's an inspiration.
yeah, it means a lot, and I take it for granted. I really do.
Well, you talk about it enough. I don't think that's true. Yeah, Proverb says, "Get wisdom, get understanding." It says, that and understanding and wisdom comes from experience. That's where it comes from. You can't read a book and get wisdom. You can get knowledge, but to get wisdom, to get understanding, you have to live it.
Yeah.
Which is what we're doing. Thank you for having this in the morning. Get us going.
Well, Tuesday, a week ago, John underwent another emergency surgery, and it revealed, those staples that were in his body. And if we had procrastinated, if we hadn't gone to the doctor and insisted that they look at him and do the CAT scan on Monday, they never would have seen that there was something in there that shouldn't have been in there. And then they wouldn't have been able to do that emergency surgery on Tuesday, because Wednesday the hospital was shut down. So I bring that up because don't procrastinate about anything, because you never know what choice that you could make today that could change your life for the better tomorrow. And I'm living proof. John's living proof of it. And I just wanted to share that with everybody, because when I think of procrastination, that comes to my mind. Don't procrastinate about your health. Don't procrastinate about anything in life that you want to do, spending time with your children, whatever it is. And I know, Jimmy, you've been spending time with your children probably more than you had in the past. At least you've shared that with me. You've gone on cruises with them or whatever. But and I'm not talking about work. I'm talking about our personal lives, and just wanted to share that.
This is the day to do it. Today is the day of rest for a lot of spiritual people. That sometimes it's Saturday, but sometimes it's Sunday. If this is the day, really, to focus on something other than work, and we're connected with our community at work. This is the people we work with. That one of them is going to talk at your funeral. It's not just your friends. not just your family members, not just where you worship, but somebody from work. What do you want them to say? Oh my God, this lady was on top of everything and so connected. I think we should do that. Psalms.
Okay, let's do it. And you're God again.
Yay.
And so, everybody, what we're going to do is we're going to read Psalm 46. And somebody sent this to me, I guess the day before John's surgery. And they said, this puts things in real perspective. And he says, I had a dream last night and you were in it. And society says to God, what about my plans?
And God says, my plans for you are always better than your own. Don't worry. I'm going to work this all out for your good.
And society says, we're not going to get anything done.
And God says, that's the point. You know how you keep spinning your wheels, always working, moving, doing, but never feeling satisfied? I've given you permission to stop. I've cleared your calendars for you. Your worth isn't tied to your busyness or your accomplishment. All you have to do is take care of each other.
And society says, well, what does all this mean?
And God says, it means I'm in control. It means you are human and I am God. It means I've given you a wonderful opportunity to be the light in a dark world. It means you're going to learn to rely on me.
And society says, well, what are we supposed to do when we can't leave our homes?
Rest. You're always so busy and overwhelmed, crying out to me, weary and exhausted. Can't you use a break from your fast-paced and overscheduled lives? Go ahead and rest. Pray. Love your families. Be still and spend time with me.
You mean we're supposed to stay home with our kids all day, every day?
Yes, and you're going to be just fine. This time together is a rare gift. The rush of daily life has come to a halt. Play games, bake cookies, work on projects you never had the time for. Teach them kindness and grace. Show them how to endure difficult circumstances and steer them toward me.
We better start hoarding anything we can get our hands on.
And God says prevention, yes. Precaution, yes. Preparedness, yes. But after that, it's time to put the needs of others before your own. When you see someone in need, help them. Offer up what you have. Do not worry about tomorrow. Haven't I always taken care of you? Now, go take care of someone else.
Why is this happening?
To remind you that I'm in control. To bring your attention back to me.
That is quite beautiful. And basically, the psalm is be still and know that I am God. And it comes at a time when we have to stay at home. And that was the whole point of someone sending this to me, that it's time to reflect. And I guess people know, Jimmy, and I know you, I've looked at your calendar. You are always busy. And I'm always busy, but now we're at home and it's time to reflect and make some positive changes and not procrastinate about the things that we want to accomplish in the future, and maybe have to go through some tough times here in the next 90 days.
We're going to have to work harder to help the same number of people, because there's going to be some people that are going to sit on the sidelines, and those are the ones that they need the most help. Yeah. We're going to have to learn some psychology here pretty quick.
Hi, Doug Miller. It's so good to see you. And Doug said he says, hi, Ruth. I wish John a speedy recovery. Well, what they I'll briefly tell you that they found from some staples in his body from his previous operation that had it stayed in there, it could have killed him. And they removed them, and he is doing better than he's done in months and months, because it was causing more and more problems, but he didn't know why, because it was slowly making his life of pain. And so he is doing fantastic. And I'm so grateful to say that today. And thank you, Doug. But John is doing excellent. He's just doing excellent. Hopefully he'll be back to his ornery self soon. Yeah. I see him getting better every day. Good. So thank you very much. Thank you very much. I was going to say something and then I forgot what it was.
Well, happy Sunday. just live a good day today. That's all you can take. Live a good day today.
Yes, and everybody just have a wonderful day. There's some great podcasts you can listen to on your Agent Formula website that Brian Buffini did, And I'm going to look to see if I have them to put up where you can go. If you don't have, let's see, it's not that one. If you don't have our website, I think this is it. This is a demo site. If you go there to learnageandformula.com and go to the blog section, and Dr. Ben Carson had an interview with Brian Buffini. It's excellent. And also Lawrence Young, who is the chief economist for NAR. And also one other thing I want, Jimmy, I don't know if you know this, and but FHA loans are changing.